I had my mic on mute. That's better. I'd say good evening, everybody, but Frank, you seem to be the only one here. In fact, my viewer status only shows 0 at the moment. So I have no idea. But there we go. Now we got people coming in. Hi, Terry. I was starting to say before I realized my mic was off is last week when I played back the video to check, I kind of played back to see kind of how the quality looks. And it was the opening and beginning was it was very jolty and jerky, and it wasn't very smooth. The picture was all pixelated and it looked terrible. And I don't know if it was because the music was coming through at the same time or not, but so I'm trying this again for a little bit. I've got the music going in the background just for a bit, and I'm going to be turning that off in just a few minutes. So I've got my big fan here in the background going because it is hot as peanuts out here right now. It's very humid in this area. We get kind of that gross sticky heat, and it's not fun. But how is both of you tonight? Don't say everyone, but I guess it is what it is. I agree, Terry. I'm not a big hot blistery summer fan. That's just not me. I've always liked the spring and the fall. I don't mind it when it's a bit warm. I like the evenings in the summer when it kind of cools down. You can kind of go for a walk at night. It's nice going down to the park in the evening down at the lakefront. It's really nice down there in kind of the summer evenings, but this is too much, and I gotta get my hair cut. This is awful. This is too long, and it's an absolute gross mess. So terrible. Just lying down watching YouTube. Yeah, I'm kind of haven't been much better myself. It's the last few days have been kind of difficult to do anything, get anything done. I remember years ago, about 10, 15 years ago, I was living in Mississauga, which is sort of between here and Toronto. It's part of the GTA. And I was living in an apartment there as well. And it was so horrible. It was sweltering heat, and I was only working as an assistant superintendent in that building. It was a condo, so condos are a little easier to manage than rentals. And I remember that I would actually sleep most of the day and then stay up at night to try and do some things. And I'd actually go and mop the floors at 2 or 3 in the morning because it was just cooler. It was so hot during the day. So, but yeah, I was up late last night working on a bit of a commission for somebody, and it wasn't going real well. I felt like the face just wasn't looking right on it. And I've been doing commissions for this guy for a long time, so I took an older one and put the face on it, and I sent it to him, and he was like, no, he says, I like what you had beginning. I like what you had started with. I was like, all right, okay, so we'll go back to that then. So I'm going to be fixing that, but it's just I just haven't felt like I've been on my game as far as drawing. It's just, and part of it is the weather, part of it is just exhaustion and etc. So, but he's in no rush for it, which is good. So I told him it might take me a little while to do it, just because I haven't been all that well the last little while. So this evening I actually went to see the latest Spider-Man movie, which has been out for 3 weeks, but I've been trying to get around to see it. I wanted to see it for a while. Finally got around to seeing it tonight. It's really good. You do need to see the first one before you see this one. You can see how it's been set up now as a trilogy. And it's fantastic, but it goes by very fast. In fact, some of the scenes are so quick that you can't take everything in. It's what we used to call confusovision. It's just, but there's a lot of styles thrown out at you very quickly. Yes, a trilogy. I'm sorry, it is, because this one, it distinctly sets up for the next one, very much so, and it's not going to be out for a while. So, but it's extremely well done, just visually. Not only is the action incredibly fast in it that I almost don't know what's going on. They'll throw up little blurbs of information, like comic strips. They'll have in the corner a little square with something. He'll say something, and then it'll put up a little blurb to kind of clarify what he's saying, or to give a little bit of info behind what that dialogue was about. But it goes up and disappears so fast you don't have time to read it. So I'd like to see it again. I'm not going to see it in the theater because I know I'm going to still miss everything, but I'd like to see it at home on my own time on video where I can pause it and take in some of the things in the background and some of the dialogues coming up on the screen. Did that just happen? And I can rewind it a little bit and see. So I can kind of take it in a little bit better. But it is good. And as I said, because there's different styles, and I mean, when I say there's different styles, like you've got, there's some scenes that look like a moving oil painting. And then something else will have a really distinct comic book look to it with where you get the tones overlaid. And then you'll have something else that's really janky looking, and it's just got angles and things coming out of everywhere, and another part that looks definitely CGI, some of it almost photorealistic. They do an effect where anything that your eyes are not focused on, so the stuff in the background or even in the foreground, it'll be slightly blurry, like a slightly double image, but it keeps but what's clear is what it is they want you to focus on in that scene, which they did a lot in the first one. So there's one character who's a British Spider-Man. I think he's Spider-Punk is what he's called. And he's always seemed to be he's really all over the place. There's stuff all over and around him. What's the name of the bird villain? Spider-Man, I can't think of his name. He's a complete different, like it's just a rough, it's like a pencil line, like pencil lines all in brown. Like it was left in like a rough sketch stage. It's just moving about. And what's he called? Not Hawkeye. Eagle Man. I can't think of what his name is. Whoop. But so visually, it's really interesting to look at. The story's pretty solid, straightforward story. There's some really cool things that they do where they make you think one thing's going on and another person's following them, and then you realize they're in two different places, and it's the way they set that up, and it was really well done. So there's some really interesting stuff, very well directed, but just goes by so fast. Just visually, you can't take it all in. But yeah, if you haven't seen them yet, you want to see the first one first and then see this one, because they do follow suit. But yeah, so that was my treat for the evening. I finally got to see that. I'd seen the Flash movie a couple of weeks ago, so that was unintended to go see that. I didn't intend to go, but we took it in anyways. And it's not, as a movie, it's not bad, and I think the highlight of that was to see Michael Keaton as Batman again. That's what I enjoyed than anything else. It's also kind of all over the place, and you realize the ending has obviously been changed and tacked on. Like, it's so clearly they just stuck that on. And then there's a certain aspect of the film that doesn't even finish. You realize that it just didn't. You go, I guess that's not where they wanted to go, and then it ends in a very strange place. So if you haven't seen it, It's weird. It's again, visually is actually really good, even though some of the effects are not finished. I know the director said that was done on purpose. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. But anyways, it's see it on video. Not when you have to see in the cinema, you can see it on video. But actually wasn't bad. As I said, I really enjoyed Michael Keaton as Batman. Keaton is my only Batman. There's some people I've enjoyed as Batman, and some people not so much. But yeah, out of maybe it's because I'm old school, because it's like with Superman, I only really like Christopher Reeve for some reason is just always kind of my Superman. Even though I know a lot of people are into Henry Cavill now, but I don't know. Whenever you say Superman, I'm always going to think of Christopher Reeve, right? And I think Batman's kind of similar. You say Batman, and it's either Adam West or Michael Keaton kind of pops into my head. So, yeah, that's kind of been it. As far as my comic, I haven't been able to work on it a whole lot this week. Damn it, I'm hoping this week changes. Just combination of weather and just trying to get this commission done that was not going well. And I'm hoping to have only done a few sketches on it. And who did I not enjoy as Batman? Just right in the middle. The two short-lived one I didn't think worked was... what's his name? Val Kilmer. I was not a big... Why is my hair going? My hair is... Okay, sorry about that. My hair... I'm it's in reverse. Val Kilmer I wasn't big on, and George Clooney, I think, just didn't kind of entirely work. I didn't mind Christian Bale. I thought, those voices just was a bit much. But I didn't mind. I particularly liked The Dark Knight. Sorry, I kind of fall into the masses there. I thought it was a good film, but his grovelly voice got a little bit irritating after a while. And again, Ben Affleck was kind of the same. I thought he was okay. I liked the fact they made it more mechanical. I thought he did all right in the role, I suppose, considering you couldn't get anyone else. So they worked for what they did, I guess. I have a friend of mine who loved Christian Bale as Batman. He was like, that's my Batman. That's it. I'm like, okay. But I was okay with them. They were fine. But I will get, I still have until the 8th. And so it's coming. I do intend to sit down and you didn't miss much. That was Batman and Robin from late 90s. It's terrible. In fact, it's so terrible, it's laughable. Like, it's one of those so bad it's hilarious. If you can kind of just go in and say, okay, this is going to be bad. The lines are bad. The effects are cheesy and over the top. It's just so bonkers. It almost looked like it took more cues from the Adam West series than it tried to do as far as like following in the Batman series. But it was just. And Schwarzenegger coming out with the one line. Schwarzenegger was Mr. Freeze, if you forgot that. And he just like, I am Freeze, the chilling sound of your doom. Like, chill out. Like all these like Freeze jokes. It's just, and now I will inundate you with icy puns. Just horrible. The Batmobile. Remember the Batmobile is supposed to be dark and cool and could ride. This friggin' thing turns into a French nightclub and lights up and flashing. Holy jeez. So yeah, he did. I was okay with him. I think he did all right. It's just the voice was kind of when he goes into that deep, grovelly voice, it just sounds so forced. But yeah, it's bonkers and over the top. Too many villains, way too many. Like there's like 5 villains in this film, and you could tell they didn't know where to go with the script. But it's just something. I got hooked on a show many years ago called Mystery Science Theater 3000, and there was sort of a spin-off of that called Riff Tracks. If you're not familiar with the Mystery Science Theater, is where they had the guy with the two little robots, and the whole idea of the show was they would watch really bad movies, and they'd sit in like the very corner of the screen, and right where my hands are, they would sit here like a theater. They'd be like they were in theater seats, watch the movie, and they would throw out jokes constantly through the whole movie. But they usually picked really bad movies. This show, it's still going. It's absolutely hilarious. They're like stand-up comedians, so a lot of it is improv and that. It's really funny. And there was another spin-off called Riff Tracks, where they kind of did away with the puppets on the bottom, but you just hear them in the background. And you can buy the separate riff tracks and line it up and watch it with movies, and so they can get away with doing modern movies like Lord of the Rings and things like that. And they did the entire Batman series, and it's friggin' hilarious. They just riff on these things, and it's the funniest. And it's like the best way to watch a movie. If it's bad, you look for these riff tracks, and it's just hilarious. My favorite Batman villain. Okay, that's a tough one. Jack Nicholson was a good Joker. I know everybody loved what's his name as Joker, but I kind of lean a little more into Jack Nicholson. And as far as the movies, I've always been this weird big Vincent Price fan, and I've always loved him as Egghead. And I know that goes into the series, and it was silly and it was punny, and it was just, but he was just so great in that. I love Mystery Science Theater. Oh, it just. Yeah, you had to kind of take the humor or leave it. I don't know. It's my kind of humor, I guess. That I know some movies they shouldn't touch. Some movies it's like, okay, that you shouldn't make fun of that one. But some of them, like the old, just really terrible movies, is just you can kind of get away with it more. Villain. How did I get into what was I going to talk about before this? I kind of got onto this string. Did we lose Frank again? I know someone else had a stream going. Oh, Jim Luhan was doing a stream on so now he's got his whole crowd over there. I should see if they're still going. Let's find out. And he had Chris Runciman, who's usually not up this late, but so I was kind of surprised to see him in a stream. No, I guess theirs ended. I'm looking, and it looks like a friend of mine, Scott Stinker, is in. He's doing it live tonight. He's reviewing a TV show. Okay, enough of that. So I was hoping maybe if that ended, some of the audience might find out that I'm live and move over here, but apparently not yet. So. I was actually thinking about doing a little bit of drawing tonight. I really wasn't too sure. This is all very kind of short notice and impromptu. I kind of wasn't sure if I'd go on tonight because I knew it was going to the flick, and I knew it was going to be running late. And I need to do, I caught a 7:00 show, and it was a long movie. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. Long for an animated movie. But I need to go into like Best Buy. There's a little area up sort of north end of the city. There's like a Best Buy and a Michael's Arts and Crafts store. There's like a Williams coffee shop, which I love, and then there's the cinema, and there's a whole bunch of stuff around that area. So I needed a portable charger, so I picked up one of those. And yeah, they're all part of part of this group that all came together through. What's the name of that live stream? Frank, if you're there, help me out. I'm drawing a blank. What is it that Josh and Scott Circlin hosts? What's the name of their live stream? I'm drawing a blank. But it was part of that group. It was all part of that group that where everybody met. Gary Hodges and Frank's been in there. I am. Hi, Big Ben Mama. How you doing? Watch The Exterminator from 1980. Have I seen that? I feel like I've seen it a long time ago, and I can't remember it. Very dark. I feel like I've seen it, and my head's just drawn a blank on it now. I've forgotten a lot since before 1996. We won't talk about 1996. Very nerdy. Oh, the group. Yeah, there's kind of, they talk about comics a lot, and they talk to artists and they interview people. So it's sort of nerdy, but also kind of interesting. They talked to a lot of interesting artists and that on there. Death Wish and Taxi Driver. Okay. I feel like I may have probably seen it, or my dad's watched it or something, and I've long since forgotten it. I'll have to Google it a little bit later, and I'll see a little more about it. I feel like I've seen it. I feel like I have seen it. It's just it's kind of disappeared in the mist out of my mind. There's a lot of movies I've kind of forgotten, and find out years later, you hear the title, and you're like, oh yeah, I saw that. Ew. But yeah. What was one? There was one that came up. I saw on, like, somebody had posted bumpers, like old TV bumpers on YouTube, and there was one for Channel 43 out of Cleveland, which I used to watch because we picked it up here when I grew up in London, Ontario, and they used to run in the 70s and 80s, run a lot of great movies. And there was one that came up. They had the announcer. They had the little bumper they played, and I remember the announcer come on and said something like, and get ready for this evening's movie. Don't raise the bridge, lower the water. And I'm like, wow, I feel like I've seen that. Like, it was a weird title, but I feel like I've seen that years ago, and I just don't remember it. It wasn't a very good movie, but I remember that I know I had seen it years and years and years ago. I just forgot until that weird title came up, and it's just like somewhere buried in your head, you remember that title. Does that sound familiar to anybody else? I think it was something like Don't Raise the Bridge, Lower the Water. I forget who was in that. I want to say Walter Matthau, I think. I could be wrong. Actually, I might be wrong on that. Don't quote me. But is Frank still there? What? I can't think of the name of. I'm still drawing a blank on that group that meets every Thursday night. They meet, and was he in that? Jerry Lewis? I'm going to look it up now. It's going to drive me batshit. Don't raise the bridge, lower the water. Jerry Lewis. Yeah. Jacqueline Pierce. Okay. I'm getting movies mushed together in my head. Yeah, and it's funny because I have seen it, completely forgotten it. I was thinking it was Walter Matthau in that, but it's not. I was thinking something else. But yeah, and I know I've seen that one though. Was Terry Thomas in that? Terry Thomas. I say. All right. Art Casters, thank you so much. Oh, that was driving me batshit crazy. I could not think of the name of it. Yes. So all these people I met through Art Casters, and I started chatting with Josh, and that's how I met Frank. And although I'd known of Scott Circlin before that, but he was on there, and then Chris Runciman was a guest. And he mentioned, he says, I live in London, Ontario. And I'm like, what? I went to London. Then he says, when I went to the Beal Art program. And I'm like, what? I went to Beal Art. I had to contact this guy. Like, what year did you go? It turns out he was like a year behind me. I think I probably saw him around there, but just don't remember, because that would have been like 86, 87. Damn it, I'm old. But yeah, so that's why I kind of clicked with him. And so is anybody? I should maybe try and open up an art program or something here and just kind of do something, I guess. I was hoping to kind of either have somebody in or talk a little bit about art. Or something, but oh, how nice, Vermont. Oh, I hope you have a good trip. And let's see, Charlie Varick. Again, another title. I don't think I've seen it. I've heard that title. I don't think I've seen that one. Charlie Varick. Yeah, we've talked about it a fair bit. My brain is Vermont. I've heard it's very nice. I've never been to Vermont, but I've heard it's a nice state. I'm trying to get up to Montreal. I want to visit a couple of friends of mine in Montreal, but it seems like every time I try and set a date, either this day won't work because I have to work and I can't get out of the state, or the people I want to visit, they're busy or I can't go see them or whatever. So something's always kind of comes up. Usually I take a trip up every year or two to Montreal with a couple of friends, but they can't make it. So I'm just going to go myself, which is fine because then I can visit like a different group of people up there and I'll just hang out in Montreal for a couple of days. But I usually go up every year. I like Montreal. I like walking through old Montreal. It's really nice. It's really pretty down there. It's very European, like cobblestones and the building fronts that look very, very, very European. And there's lots of little coffee shops and little mini, we call it like art. Lots of little art shows and little mini art museums and it's really nice along there. There's lots of restaurants and lots of different kinds of foods to try. And then you go up to an area that opens up and there's lots of like street vendors, but not like typical street vendors. I mean, there's like painters and interesting things out there that it's really, I really enjoy going down and walking through there. I wish Toronto had something like that. Toronto doesn't. Toronto's kind of dumpy. It is. But the waterfalls, eh? Oh, that's nice. That's where I like going up to northern part of Ontario. People kind of think of Ontario as just like it was in Toronto and cities, and it's actually not. The lower part is actually you have your big city areas, and there's a lot of driving between them. It's mostly farmland, and then as you go up to the north end, the north end is then you start getting into your big parks and your big waterfalls and all that, and it's really pretty. There's lots to see up there. It's really beautiful. And who we got? Oh, Matt! Hey, hello, my good friend Matt Ashcroft. How you doing, Matt? Well, that's a surprise. So, yeah, I don't speak a lot. I speak very little French. I know for somebody who's in Canada, I should know more, and I used to know more, and I've forgotten a lot, actually, unfortunately. But yeah, Good to hear. I've wanted to get in touch with you the last little while. We'll have to chat soon for sure. So this is going to be a short stream tonight. I might end up just finishing up about 12:30 actually and keep this one short. So if you're up a little later, we'll chat. Matt is a good friend from Toronto. But yeah, I do want to chat for sure. I was thinking about opening up and doing a little bit of sketching just for tonight, but I don't know. There's I don't have my normal guests in, and there's like my friend Enrique is not in tonight, and tell you what, we won't go into the details right now, Matt, but we'll talk. I'm not surprised. I haven't. I would absolutely love to go to the one in Montreal. I've been to the one in Toronto, but Montreal always seems to get more. Oh, the Fantasia. No, and I've been dying to go for years. They have some great stuff at the Fantasia Film Festival. Like they always get like the best stuff. They get way more than we get here, for sure. It's funny. It says I have like 6 viewers in here at the moment, but I think we lost Frank. I was going to ask him something, but Yeah, but Matt, send me a text, and we'll definitely we'll chat later. And I have another friend of mine, my other friend Steve, trying to get a hold of me. I should have known he'd haven't people I don't hear from them in a few days, and then all of a sudden they try and get a hold of me as soon as I go live. I normally come on live with a couple of good friends. Like normally my friend Enrique is joins me here, and we talk about things in the art community, in the art world, and what's kind of new in the news of art. And but he can't make it like every week, so that's why we used to do it every third week. But I wanted to get in the habit of just getting on here and chatting each week, and I wanted to make it a weekly thing. And eventually I like to start having some guests in, so I'm starting to make a list, putting it together, and I'm going to start getting some people in here. I am hoping to have a special guest in the fall, who's an artist and an actress. I'm hoping to maybe have in here. I've talked about it before. I've mentioned who it is before, but we'll see. We'll see what her availability is like. So no guarantees just yet, but that'll be a fun guest to have in for sure if I can get her on. But yeah, I don't see the regulars in. Usually Paul Pate pops in, and I thought if Paul Pate was in, I might bring him in, and or if Jim Luhan. It's Agent Smith coming here. When is the Fantasia film? That's still going, isn't it? I should look that up. I should look up the Montreal Fantasia Film Festival. Is it? Oh, is it? It just went. Oh no, it's coming up on the 20th. That soon? Oh, I'm not going to make it up there that soon. Damn it! I need to know that I should start looking up this ahead of time. So I can book the time off work and make plans to go there. July 20th to August 9th. I'll check into it later, and I'll have to see what films they got playing there this year. They used to get great kaiju flicks. I used to like going to see. They get some of the new ones, and I was always mad because I could never make it there to see them. And then Toronto has a couple of film festivals. I forget what the Toronto one's called. It's like the After Dark, and there was another one. And we'd never get the good ones that they never get the good ones that Montreal would get. Always kind of disappointed me. Well, yeah, he probably likely is. I'll have to check this. I want to see what movies are playing. The website's all in French. I was sort of thinking even opening up and drawing, but I'm not even sure if it's even worth it tonight. I just thought I'd just kind of pop in mainly to kind of say hi and to kind of keep the momentum going. But it's been such a busy day today, and it's really kind of just hot and sticky today. And I'd like a little more. If I was going to do a drawing video, I think I'd probably start earlier because it's actually about 10 after here now, coming up quarter after 12, and it's a bit late. And Josh has been doing these really late streams, and he's been doing these. He likes to get into what he calls his Spicy Josh show. So he's been working on his comic, but he's been playing these debates, these political debates, and they're interesting for a bit. But I find after a while, I can't really get into them that much. But it's kind of interesting to kind of just hear his take on it, but it's not kind of that's definitely not something I'm going to be doing on here. I don't want to open up that ball of wax. So, yeah, I wish there was kind of something more happening in the world of art, but I really haven't. After we've had all the chats about AI and all that kind of nonsense, it's kind of like that's kind of worn itself out. I think we all kind of know what each other's stance is on that. So I'm kind of like, yeah. So unless there's something that's changed in that world, but otherwise I'm kind of, I'm kind of looking here, and there's really nothing kind of much, news-wise. I guess there's been a lot of stuff going on, but I'm not following anything. What kind of topics, as far as what I'm doing, or what Josh has been playing? Josh has just been kind of random. I haven't. I don't know. He just had debating on political stuff, and it wasn't. It just there was somebody had on there. There was a couple of people on there who were just more a lot of names you hear on social media and whatnot. It just kind of doesn't go anywhere, right? They just kind of take a side, and they just chat back. It just kind of goes back and forth, and doesn't really kind of accomplish anything. I don't. Well, the chat's gone kind of quiet. I'm down to about 3 viewers here tonight, and cocaine the way. Oh, I heard something about that. I have no idea what that's even about. I'm a little behind on American politics. Like, I know we get them. We get, like, if something happens, we hear about it probably about the same time you do, but I'm kind of a little off on it. I'm more closely involved with what happens in our Canadian politics, only because it's for certain things that kind of affect me personally, what kind of outcomes we have on it. But so, especially where it comes to what's going on in Ontario, that kind of thing, we have we have issues with our own premier of Ontario. Yeah, I'm not big on them either. I will admittedly say that I lean more left on a lot of things. We'll just kind of leave it there. So, but I don't see much point in kind of getting into arguments and debates. It's like, I'm also kind of a Gen X person. So, we've talked about that before, and I'm just like, you have your stance on something, I have mine. They might clash. They might be eye to eye, whatever. I'm not into, like, trying to change people's minds on anything, because I don't think that's going to happen, and that's not going to go anywhere. So it's just, things are what they are. So y'all got wild politics. What, in Canada? Not in Canada, you mean? Not really. I mean, there's a lot of people who really hate Trudeau. And I'm like, it's no news. Every time there's a new prime minister, you just hear more about it now because of social media. Like, every one of them there's been very few who haven't had, you didn't hear a whole lot. We didn't hear a whole lot about Paul Chrétien when he was liberal. Then we had Harper, who was conservative, and by the time he finished, everyone hated Harper and couldn't wait to get rid of him. We had Mulroney, and if we had social media in the 80s, we hated Mulroney. Hated him. There was a toy in those IT stores that was a little This is terrible. It's a little Brian Mulrooney doll about so big with a big button that says "I love GST" because he brought in the GST, which was an added tax on everything that people were really angry about. And a noose around its neck, and you hang it in the back of your car window, like. So yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people are. And that's why I kind of just try to avoid it on here right now. I find it's not helpful to have. TikTok is awful for debates, and people kind of bring other people in, and it's just a lot of heat and nastiness, and it's ugly. That's the most toxic environment is on there. I avoid it. But yeah, there's not much else. It's been sort of a quiet week otherwise with me at home. And then we had our Canada Day, and I'm responsible in my apartment building for putting out the garbage. I roll out the garbage bins. There's not many of them, but I put them out today, and I forgot it was Canada Day on the weekend, Canada weekend, so our garbage was pushed back a day. So I know they got sitting out there an extra day. I got to take them back, and hopefully it get picked up tomorrow. That's my excitement when I'm talking about the garbage pickup. My God. So yeah, what else? I guess that's about it. I mean, I might maybe just end up calling it for tonight because it is 11:30. It's really hot and sticky in here. I don't have my AC hooked up quite yet. I only have this old portable AC unit. I'm not even sure. It's loud and annoying, and I'm gonna try and see if I can hook it up anyways. I was thinking of buying a new one. I was gonna get more like a regular window unit, and then somebody told me no, actually stick with a portable unit. And I don't feel like spending like $300-400 on another AC unit, and so yeah, I'll just hook up the old one and see if I can get it to work. It's just so bloody loud, but it's gross in here. So yeah, happy 4th of July, 4th of July to you guys too. Belated 4th of July. It's now on to the 6th, and but hopefully I'll better plan for a better show next week. This was I almost completely forgot about it and realized I was going to this flick tonight, and I thought, oh shit, I'm supposed to do a show tonight. I'm supposed to come on here and do this, and I'd really like to kind of stick to a schedule on this, so I knew I'd be back in time. But I didn't have a chance to put up any notices for it, and I didn't have anybody to kind of bring on, and I didn't, I thought maybe I'd do some drawing, but it's just, as I said, it's so late and it's so uncomfortable and sticky in here. So, but I kind of did this just to say hello. I'm going to try and see if I can have some better work to show next week and put up. I'm still looking at printers. I'm open to any advice on printers. If we can recommend a decent printer for making. I want to get one that could print 11 by 17, but apparently they cost more. Who knew? But as long as it prints nice color work, that's the main thing. I don't know. I might maybe just, I don't know if I should bother getting a printer and to print my own, or just have them sent to something like Staples and get them to make up prints. But Staples used to do it right there. They used to just, I could drop it off and they'd even have a same day pickup or later or following day pickup or something. And it was easy. Because it was just down the street, I could go back and get it done. And then, no, not anymore. Now they use you have to upload them and you wait a week. And I'm I thought, with technology, this would be a faster process. No, somehow it turned out to an overnight service to being a whole week now before I can get them done. So I don't know. I'm kind of not happy with that, but all right. Well, it was a little bit of a short show tonight. I think I'm gonna call it here and just kind of wind down. I had some people who've been trying to message me, so I'm gonna go back and try and try and contact them. So, okay, yeah, we'll go through it. But yeah, thanks everyone for popping in. I really appreciate it. I promise next week will be a better show. Again, this was short notice, and I didn't think it through. But yeah, I'll probably catch you all online at some point, and we'll see you on the interwebs or on the YouTubes, Instagrams, and all that good stuff, probably through the week. So, all right, everyone, have a good night, and we'll see you all again very, very soon.